In this video, I will explain you step by step how you can set up the Claude Code CLI on your virtual private server, but you will also learn how to call Claude Code from your n8n workflows. As an example, on the left side, I'm right now on the terminal from my virtual private server that is running on Hostinger. And if I type something, then Claude Code will answer. But I can also activate Claude Code within my n8n workflow and then, for instance, perform a specific command, call a sub-agent. Or what's also a really nice use case, I can replace other large language models by using the Claude Code CLI, because then I can also use the tokens that are available in my subscription. And before we start with that, there are a few assumptions. So I am assuming that you have access to your virtual private server. Apart from that, I'm also assuming that your n8n instance is working. And in order to be able to call Claude Code or use it, you need either an account or an API key. And for the video, we will start really simple. So we will navigate to the terminal, then we will install Claude Code, create an SSH key, so we can also create the credential inside of n8n. But I will also show you another option, which is really fast and extremely easy. At the end of the day, we will create 2 credentials, and of course, we will also verify if the connection works with a small example. And to make it as easy as possible for you, we will do it step by step, so I won't skip anything, and also nothing is so far installed. So let's start with navigating to the terminal. That depends on your service where you're hosting your n8n instance. As an example, in Hostinger, it's quite easy. I can just enter in the terminal by opening here the window. Now I'm already in my terminal. Might be also possible that you have to create an SSH key and then log in from your own terminal into the terminal from your virtual private server. But if you're also using Hostinger, then you can follow every step. And the first step is to install Claude Code. So if I type in Claude, then it won't work because the command is not installed yet, or in other words, it's not available. And for that, we can go to the official documentation of Claude Code. And as an example, my virtual private server is running on Ubuntu. So it's, I think, Ubuntu 24 something. We can also check it. Yes, 24. And in case your virtual private server is also running on Ubuntu, then you can simply copy the first command. In case you are using Windows or another operating system, then that's also fine. The only thing that is important is that you choose the right command, because once Claude Code is installed, then it doesn't matter where it has been installed. So in my case, I will copy this command here, then go back to my terminal. Unfortunately, Control V does not work, so I have to paste it like that. And now we will fetch the installation script, which will be executed. And after that, Claude Code will be installed. And as you can see, it's already done. If we, for instance, open it by just entering Claude, then we can do the first setup guide. So in this case, I will just use the dark mode. And now it's prompting me to log in. So in my case, I will use the first option because I have an account, but in case you want to go with an API key, then you can also do that. So if I click enter, then it will create a link for me that I can paste into the browser. And then I have to authorize Claude Code to use my account. And for that, it will give me an authentication code, which I will blur. And then you have to paste it here. And once you did that, then you can also see that the logging worked. Then you can accept the security notes, trust the folder. And after that, Claude Code is already installed. So the first step is already done. Claude Code is installed, but we cannot use it outside from our terminal. And for that, we need to create an SSH key. And in this part, we can rely on the documentation from GitHub. So if we scroll up, then we have this command here. So we will create an SSH key with the ED25519 algorithm. So we can copy that in case you want to add a comment, then you can also do that, but it's not required. And after that, we go back to our terminal. In this case, I have to close first Claude Code and then paste it, enter, and now it will create 2 files in the folder SSH. So we can simply accept it. Then we have to provide a passphrase. I will quickly do that. Then we have to enter it again. And now we have to navigate to the SSH folder. So if we check first if it's there, then we can see it. Here it's a blue one. And in order to get into this folder, we need to change the directory. So cd.ssh, and then we are inside the SSH folder. And if we want to check the files, then we can do ls. And then we can see we have authorized keys, known host, but also the private and public key. And these both are important to be able to create the credential inside of n8n. So we are right now in credentials, then we click on create credential, search for SSH, and then we will choose the second option, which is private key, click on continue. And now we need to find the host, username, private key, and also passphrase. So this is quite easy because I just typed it before. I can already add it here. The username is in my case root. In case you don't know your username, then you can also type in who am I, and then it will return the username, but most likely you have it also here as a prefix. So we can go back to the credential. We have it here. And then we need the host name in case you don't know it or it's not visible in the dashboard. Then you can either check it by host name minus I, and then you get it here. So the first value in my case. I can copy it. If you're also using Hostinger, then you can simply copy this value here as well. And after that, you need to paste the value in the host field. And now we need also the private key. And for that, we will go back to the terminal. And then we need to look into this file here. And we can do that with the concatenate command. So cat and then ID underscore and then the autocomplete, which is in this case the tab key, then click enter. And now we need to copy everything. Click on copy, go back to the credential, paste it into the private key field, and then click on save. And if we didn't do anything wrong, no, we forgot something. We need to also add the public key to the authorized keys. And for that, we need to take the content from the public key and then put it into the authorized keys. And for that, we can simply append it by, first of all, checking what's inside of the public key. We can also use the autocompletion, and then we do the append command followed by the place, which is authorized keys. And if we look into the authorized keys, then we can see that it's also there. And if we do it again, then it should work. The first credential is created. In case you don't want to do it with an SSH key, then you can also create another credential, search again for SSH, then use the password method, and then also add here the local host, which is in this case the same value as before. Then you can enter your username followed by the password that you set for your terminal. So in this case, if I didn't type it wrongly, then it should work as well. So now we have two credentials and both are working. And before we can use Claude Code from an n8n workflow, so in a non-interactive session, we need to create a link to that, so kind of a shortcut. And for that, we will use the command ln, which is a link to a file, -s for symbolic, and then followed by the place where Claude is installed, so the source, and then also the destination. And if we click enter, then we won't see anything. But if we now create a new workflow, and then use the SSH node and then select one of the credentials we created. So I will just keep it as it is, but both will work. And now we can simply add the Claude command. So similar like we did it in the terminal. So we need to activate it first and then -p for print. And then just a simple question like, hello, how are you doing? And then also quotes. And if we then click on execute, then we have to wait. And if we didn't forget anything, then it should work. And as you can see, it worked. And in case you want to have a full list of all the available arguments, then you can simply use the Claude command and then followed by -help. And then you can also see that we have here print, but for instance, you could also take a session in case you want to start a conversation about a specific topic or whatever you need in your automation with Claude Code and you want to continue this conversation, then you could also use the -r argument. But of course, all the other commands are also available, but I would recommend to first set up everything via the terminal and then only use n8n to execute a specific command or invoke specific agents so that you can first leverage the power of Claude Code, but also the tokens that are available in your plan. And now we are already at the end of this video, so let's do a quick recap. The first thing we did is that we opened our terminal. Then we installed Claude Code by just using any of these commands here for the installation, depending on your operating system. After that, we created an SSH key so that we can also create the credential inside of n8n, but you can also skip that and then use the password credential. Then we actually created the credential inside of n8n where we used values such as the host, username, passphrase, password. And in case you use the SSH key, then we use the private key. And then, which part was really important is the last one, which is the creation of the link, which we did here. So if you don't do it, then most likely it won't work. So really, really important. And in case you're interested in learning more about n8n, but also how you can, for instance, use Claude Code for agentic SEO, or you're just looking for well-tested SEO automations, then you're highly welcome to join my community where I regularly share and also update my workflows for data analysis, keyword rank tracking, content optimization, content creation. So a lot of workflows that help you to streamline your repetitive work. And with that, thanks for watching, and we will hear each other in the next video.